there's a lot of question lurking at the back of my mind, like, is this worth it? Do I really want to do this? So you also miss out the opportunity of really appreciating the progress that you're doing with the work that you're doing.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's me, Nina, to another Karma Marketing content feature with another very special guest. We have today Gladys. She is part of a really amazing community here in the Philippines. And before we get into the introduction of who Gladys is, we're going to be talking about stress management for this month's content feature, and specifically focusing on the art of stress management in a sense of building inner harmony when stress comes in the way, and trying to harmonize the brain and also the body when it comes to facing things that may seem challenging or maybe things that may seem difficult in one's life. So, without further ado, I will have Gladys over here introduce herself.
Thank you so much, Nina, for having me here. I love the topic, and this is very timely because I've been experiencing a lot of stress, especially in the work that I'm doing now. But by the way, my name is Gladys, and I'm a co-founder of Emerge PH. Our vision for Emerge is really to help people, primarily here in the Philippines, to take ownership of their lifelong learning and growth. And just like karma marketing, we want to help people be connected with like-minded individual inside our Emerge PH community, and we welcome everyone as well.
That's super awesome. I'm so excited to get into this topic. I think it's best if we just start off with the first question, which is, what is your personal definition of stress? And with stress, what are the certain or common situations that you have encountered in your life or maybe also in your work?
Yeah, that's very beautiful question. And before, I used to get confused between what is stress and what is overwhelm. And for me, stress and when I start to lose clarity of what to do next. And what happened is that I just do everything and I end up working for such a long time. And after the stress arrived, there's this anger that would pop up of like, I'm doing so many things. And I'm missing the opportunity of actually loving what I'm doing. Because again, what I do right now is something that I'm very passionate about. But when I'm already stressed out, I started, there's a lot of question lurking at the back of my mind, like, is this worth it? Do I really want to do this? So you also miss out the opportunity of really appreciating the progress that you're doing with the work that you're doing. And most often, it happens when I work with a team. I delegate a task, and the task comes back to me, something that I'm not happy about. And instead of just clarifying the instruction, I tend to just do it myself. And that really stressed me out. That, those are some of the scenario.
Yeah, can I just say I completely relate to you. Delegation is such a skill. Like, that's something that everyone needs to build. And I feel like, especially when you mention stress is lack of clarity, a lot of people can't or don't really realize that they haven't defined what stress is to them, but they know how it feels. So, I mean, for me and my personal experience as well, stress is really the times where I feel so uncertain. In that sense, it's also lack of clarity because, like, I don't know what's going to happen. And because I don't know what's going to happen, I get stressed out because I'm like, no, I need to control the situation. Like, I need to control the outcome. I just need to know if I'm going to be okay after this or not. And I think that's why a lot of the outcomes when it comes to encountering stress or lack of clarity or, not being able to control the uncertainty is a dysregulation. So it's either your body just automatically goes into survival mode and it's like, I need to do everything I can to control the situation, or you hyper fixate on a situation, you overanalyze all of the outcomes or the worst case scenarios. And that's really stress. Like, honestly, for me, that's stress. Like, when I get to that point of dysregulation, like, man, I shouldn't be wasting so much time trying to control this. Like, I really cannot. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, like even that one too. Not only is it within yourself, but also like external environment. Like when you're working with people, that's also something you can control in terms of like, you know, what they do, or like what how it affects you. Yes, you can definitely change it, but again, like it really just happens. So
exactly.
yeah, like I'm glad we're on the same page. Definitely it's a lack of clarity or moment of uncertainty.
Exactly. And when you start to feel stress and when you still push forward, at the end of the day, you wouldn't feel happy with the output. Or sometimes you just get overwhelmed, and overwhelm is when you freeze and don't even want to do anything.
That's so
So,
yeah. So with your current situation, like your most recent stressful moments, like delegating tasks or working with a team, how have you dealt with that internally? Or what are your personal resolutions or recommendations that have worked for you when you were encountering these stressful situations?
just very recently that I really start paying attention to my body. Because again, before my automatic response is to just take the work back and do it myself. But then it just adds to the stress level. And now, as I notice my body, I can sense like tightness in my neck and in my shoulder. And I realize, this sensation can really be a good action signal for me. If I notice myself feeling those, it's a signal for me to pause, to stop. And I watched a video of, I think it was John Hassaraf, who mentioned like you need to change your physical body. And if you do a lot of things when you're already in a stressful state, it's not helpful. So better to take 3 deep breaths and just relax. So I've been doing that a lot now, and it actually helped me out. And also doing a transition meditation. So it's pretty similar. Like, let's say, okay, I have a meeting now with you. And once this meeting ends, before I jump to another meeting or work, I need to take a deep breath 3 times and set an intention in my mind. What do I want to accomplish? What do I have to do? And
Yeah,
who do I need to ask for help? So those are like my bullet points to transition. I'm not doing it effectively or regularly, but that's a reminder for myself too.
that's honestly that's super awesome because I I also recently came across like this podcast. I forgot who it was though. So, but they were talking about body senses and how, you know, you have your fight or flight response and you create certain body responses or triggers. I don't really like using that term, but like let's just say triggers to like when it comes to facing different experiences. So I feel like a lot of the time stress is really in the mind because
Mhm.
you think it's stressful, so it's like your body is just like, oh my god, like you need to do something, or like you get like scared, you get angry,
Yeah.
disturbed emotions coming in. But I love how you mentioned that like you should just start first with the body, noticing where it feels.
Mhm.
Because to be honest, that is honestly the best way to cool down yourself, for the lack of a better term, because you're
Mhm.
just literally sensing without thinking. So your mind's
Yeah.
not really using anything to like associate something with something bad or like something stressful. And also, I feel like in terms of stress, because it is a dysregulation, you know, you're coming from disturbed emotions of
Mhm.
anxiety or fear or anger. The best way to regulate those emotions is to either let it pass, like feel everything and just completely detach from it, or also just tune in to how that emotion is making you feel and then just let it go too. So
Exactly.
Yeah, like that's honestly great. It's a super great reminder, especially when we're always in our heads. Like work is just it's a lot of brain work. It's a lot of brain energy. So
Yeah. And then when you're in a better state as well, that's when flow comes in. I notice when I'm in flow, when I'm very, aligned, I'm able to accomplish work in a matter of hour or two or even less. But if I am stressed out, I can spend whole day thinking.
I love that. I love how you bring out flow because I've also been recently getting into flow state. And honestly, it is the best way to effortlessly do things without feeling forced to do it. So I mean that's also another point when it comes to stress. Especially when you have a lack of clarity, you also need to identify and ask the right questions on whether this is actually worth your time. Like, is it worth dwelling in this situation, or is there actually something you can do about it? Because, some people, when they're in stressful situations, they just keep complaining, they dwell
Yeah,
in the negative outcome without thinking of the next step or like the resolution.
exactly.
Next is question number 3. So, with your current stressful situations, your recommendations, and even your reminders to yourself, what would be the most important advice that you can give to those who are trying to build better stress management or those who are currently in stressful situations?
First of all, like those emotions are totally normal. And first thing that I would suggest is to accept that you're feeling stressful. Because the more you fight the stress, the more it just amplifies. So just be more compassionate towards yourself. Like, okay, I'm feeling stressful now because I have a lot of this work. And then remind yourself of how awesome you are for having the guts to actually take on this, all this work in your plate. And after that, after the acceptance comes in and the compassion, then as you said, let go of the unnecessary overthinking, let go of maybe if there is anger coming in, let go of the anger and just transition to self-compassion, like understanding towards other people if it's the delegation part that you actually are stressing about, or if it's your kids or partner. So those were just some of the few things that I just remind people: acceptance, self-compassion, and just let go.
Yeah, that's super beautiful. Honestly, even at like when people face like burnout, whether it's work or whether it's life, I honestly genuinely believe it's because a lot of it has been suppressed.
Yeah.
It's always just like, no, 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 I'll do this. I'll do it. Like, I'll rest once I finish everything. And then another thing
Mhm.
comes, and they're like, okay, no, after this thing, that's when I'll start the rest. And it just keeps them piling up until they realize, like, wait, my body is like shutting down and I'm actually in a burnout. So I love how you stated first that you really have to come to a place of acceptance where it's like, I am getting stressed right now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people put shame into feeling stressed maybe
Mhm.
because, they want to seem like they got it all together. They want to seem put together and they could never be broken down. But it really is normal. It's the way of life. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Thank you so much, Gladys, for sharing amazing insights to our community. I hope that anyone that's listening, rest assured you feel safe and also validated in terms of going through stressful situations. Me and Gladys have been there, and hopefully, this has helped you in your journey as well. So, on to the next content feature, but for now, peace and love, karma marketing.